This comes from The Economist. It's a magazine. It's boring as snot. Snobs read it. Ivy Leaguers read it. We pay somebody on our staff to read it, but we pay them to read it. Nobody's reading it because they like it. Here's what it says, quote, the prospect that one country, talking about the EU, the prospect that one country might break its ties to the euro, voluntarily or not, would cause widespread bank runs in other weak economies. Now listen to this. Think of the EU as the United States of Europe. It's a bunch of separate, independent states that people are trying to force together and say, no, 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 you'll have to do it exactly all the same way. And now some states are, well, let's say they act kind of like California. And other states like Germany act more like Texas. And they have to, now Texas has to bail out California. And the EU, for some reason I can't relate, doesn't like that. They say, why should I have to pay for his lifestyle? I knew that wouldn't work. We didn't do that. Why do we have to bail them out? Okay, so that's what's going on in EU now. The prospect that one country might break its ties to the euro, voluntarily or not, would cause widespread bank runs in weak economies. Depositors would rush to get their savings out of the country to preempt a forced conversion to a new, weaker currency. Governments would have to impose limits on bank withdrawals or close banks temporarily. Gee, remember when I said maybe you should have 30 days of cash on hand? Capital controls and even more capital controls, in other words, control on your money, and even travel restrictions would slow the circulation of money around the economy. Okay. So they got to close the banks. They have to have more financial control, and they're going to regulate your travel. This is in Europe. Don't worry, it won't happen here. Regulate your travel. Now, this goes back to an article that happened earlier this week that I told you about, where the finance minister of Great Britain said, we're devising ways now to figure out how to get English citizens out of Europe in case this goes down. Why would Europe or England have to worry about getting its citizens out of Europe? You are going to be trapped where you are. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. The Poland foreign minister warned about the severity of this exact... He was worse. The foreign minister of Poland was worse. George Soros said, quote, the world financial system is on the brink of collapse. He says it is not functioning. It is, quote, on the brink of collapse. I'm going to talk to some really smart friends of mine. I think I know what they're doing. I think I know what they're doing with the financial markets. I think I figured it out. I think I know how George Soros and people like him are going to protect their money. I'm not sure if this is the game. That's why I don't want to say it on the air. But I said it to Pat, and both of us are so uninformed on currencies and how all that works that I'm not sure if this is right. So I don't even want to say it. But I'm going to check with some people this weekend. You join me on Monday because I'll bet you that's right. I'll bet you. Does it not sound?
Sure does.
Sounds absolutely right.
Yeah. And
it may be a way out for you. Something that you can do no matter if you have just a little bit of money in the bank or a lot of money in the bank. It's really risky. I've never heard anybody even utter this before, so I have to find out. But I think it might be what they're doing. You have to think like people who believe that the world is unfair, that America and the West are oppressors, it's redistribution of wealth, and it is reparations. Once you think of those things, and then remember, George Soros is redesigning it, then you're redesigning the system.
Makes perfect sense.
It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense.
GBTV. The truth lives here.